Welcome back, folks, to Digital Marketing Europe 2023. It's about time for our next talk. Just a reminder to folks before we get into it, if you want to be in with a chance of winning some goodies from our Knowledge Partners Packet Company, be sure to rate these sessions, leave comments, and I expect plenty of questions for our Q&A section at the end of this talk. This is an interesting one. I don't know what other way to introduce it apart from there's something exciting on the horizon. I believe the term would be Viva la Revolution. And with that, I'll pass you across to Andrii to tell you what we're evolving and revolving against.
Thank you very much, Darren. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Marketing Conference 2023. I'm not sure when we are talking about the technologies that are around us today that we are really in 2023. It looks like we are very much far beyond or far away from this. So let me, in this case, give you a kind of an overview, like how I see what's going on. So my name is Andrii, and I'm a big fan of our future. I used to work at Microsoft. Unfortunately, I left Microsoft before they invested into the open AI, which gave us a big push in the technologies we see around. But still, I have a very plenty of hands-on experience and experience a lot with all types of marketing, all types of technologies around marketing. And this is what I'm going to talk with you today. If cryptocurrency is a kind of new gold, I would say that the technologies like artificial intelligence or machine learning, deep learning, is not anymore a competitive advantage. It's kind of even more like electricity or gas. It's a matter of survival. And the matter of survival, because it's not just a technology that came to our lives. It's the level of technology, it's the level of the technology number three. Number three means that this kind of technology will impact the century we live in, like internet that appeared in the 20th century. That's actually where we are. So, what is the opportunity for you, for us marketers? The way I like to explain this to people is your life is AI assisted, and your marketing will be too when you look at your daily life as consumer and the things, the applications, your experience, the technology that surround your experience. When you look at your daily life as a consumer and the things, the applications of your experience, the technology you experience, all of the things we see on the screen right now are simply impossible without artificial intelligence. It is the underlying technology that powers the personalization and convenience that is offered by all of them. And that's what's going to happen in our and your business life. The software we use to do our jobs, right? The machine, as we call it, just meaning basically the software is going to continually get smarter. And it's not going to happen in this incremental or linear phase. It's going to happen how it is called in the exponential growth phase. So it is almost impossible to look out 3 or 6 months or 12 months from now and actually comprehend what the industry is going to look like. We see a lot of changes and announcements like ChatGPT just a few months ago. Amazon is presenting a bunch of stuff during the reInvent conference, and a lot of things truly happening around us. The main question is, do we understand, do we have enough level of knowledge and the direction, like where to start, what to learn, how to understand what can be used and applied and why in our everyday marketing efforts. Doesn't matter whether we are in B2B or B2C marketing, and actually industry agnostic. And really, like, and it's how it's insane this winter alone has been with announcements of in generative AI technology, and it's only the beginning of the year. It's even hard to to even wrap your head around. Yesterday, the OpenAI announced ChatGPT. A few weeks or months later, already ChatGPT 4, and we see those tremendous things happening, like really around, and like a lot. And this is the reality we live today. So everybody always tries to quantify the value or the impact of AI and how it is going to impact, and like to see the reports, the research of the reports, how it can vary in terms of the impact. But generally, everyone agrees that the impact is going to be in trillions of dollars. So some things that like I found that I like to discuss around this is actually goes back to 2018. It's from McKinsey Global Institute, but I like it because it actually gives a very tangible category specific to marketing and sales. Now they look at 19 industries in 9 business categories, I believe, and I found marketing and sales to be the highest potential impact area. So you can look at some specific things like pricing and promotion. And what they are talking about is like unlocking the value of them. So if you optimize price points over 100 or thousands of sales, you can unlock value. And you figure out what promotions to offer, and you can drive sales offering 20% off instead of 30% off, you unlocking the value. So again, it's not just a cost reduction, it's the acceleration of revenue and the efficiency with which you create the revenue. And that sort of carries through the 7 areas they talk about here on the slide from McKinsey. They did not get into the creativity, as you see, and as always see today, some of the examples, it may even being the biggest area of all. So I really practically way to think about this is where we are under the working assumption that within 3 to 5 years, at least 80% of what marketers do every day will be intelligently automated to some degree. Now, I've been saying this for a couple of years for different jobs, actually, or roles. And I feel like we're not making as much progress as I thought we were going to make. And then the last like 3 to 6 months just rapidly accelerated this. So I'm extremely confident in this projection right now that 3 to 5 years, this really will be true. Yeah, if not a higher percentage, but let's see what will actually happen. But as I mentioned, up front, we have this challenge a lot of people do not understand this stuff. They are not aware what AI is a real thing. And there are several communities I'm a part of. One of them is Drift community. Drift, you probably know the software, and they did with some marketing communities a research how people understand actually the AI. And this report, about 700 people responded to this question. Like 45% say they are beginners in understanding AI, 43 intermediate, and 12 advanced. Now, keep in mind this data is biased. Like, I mean, all research reports are biased, but this one is biased in that most of the people reporting are people from marketing community who are actively seeking for the information about the artificial intelligence. So this is the understanding like where we are now and how we need to accelerate to have more knowledge and clarity around this. And this is what I said. We are on the stage or level where the technology that we have around us, artificial intelligence and all around that, is something that will impact our century. So what is artificial intelligence? My favorite definition comes from Demis Hassabis, who is the co-founder and CEO of DeepMind, a company, an AI research company that was acquired by Google in 2014. So he defines AI as the science of making machines smart. Replace machines with the software is probably the simplest way to think about it as a marketer. So making software that you use every day smart. I take inspiration from that and say marketing artificial intelligence is the science of making marketing smart. So I'm not going to overwhelm you with definitions today. They're just a few basic concepts that I find extremely helpful to really have clarity around what it is we're talking about. So artificial intelligence is basically the umbrella term for tools and technologies that make machines or marketing smart. Underneath that is primary subsets, which is machine learning. That's for sure. We do not have artificial intelligence as it is. We have different algorithms, machine learning, deep learning, and it's very literal definition machine, the software that takes data in and learns from it and makes conclusions. And then it's predict behavior and outcomes on the other side. So machine learning is all about predictions and about predictions of outcomes. And it does that through increasing amount of data. So the machine takes data and learns from it out. Machine learning is at the core of almost every application you are going to use of AI and marketing. And deep learning is here as well. So from those definitions, I think the primary category to rely help you to continue to move down the ladder of how to understand this stuff, language, vision, and prediction. And I start with the language. So the language, if you look at this example here of the Google Smart Compose, if you are in Gmail on your phone or on your desktop, or same things happen if you're using Facebook or LinkedIn or iMessages, there are where they are recommending replies to you or recommending completion of your sentences. It's doing what's called natural language processing. So it's processing words. And the interesting things, then it's doing natural language generation. It's generating words. So again, very literal definition. This is what it is at the core of AI writing tools. We see a lot of them, and I will talk about them in a minute. So the thing is that it seems to be the hot space right now, this generative AI movement, where AI can generate and write. This is what is happening. The next one that became huge this year, starting in, not this year, but in 2022, starting in April, with introduction of DALL-E 2 from OpenAI, the image generation computer vision. In this case, we are showing image generation from Google, which does the same as the DALL-E 2, where you give a text prompt and it generates an image. So in essence, overnight, many of us have no time or no creativity capabilities, myself included. All of a sudden, had the ability to create visualization, to create illustration, to create concepts, designs, images for blog posts, ads, social media, banners, whatever. That's all made possible by AI. And it is not a stock photography. It is not scraping images from the internet and shows them to you. It actually gives you the original images through something called the fusion, where it learns from the hundreds and millions or billions of images, and then it creates its own version. And the final from three perspectives. So you may have language vision, and then prediction, and prediction is underlying pretty much every use case. Some examples here would be personalization. If you hear talk of personalization, it's impossible to do it at scale. Without AI, you cannot write the rules to personalize experiences and content on a person, and content for dozen or hundreds or thousands of people. So any level of advanced personalization in marketing is going to require AI, pattern recognition, forecasting recommendation. These are just all examples of predictions. So we've got broad definitions for the major categories of language, vision, and predictions. So let's see some of the use cases. So you know how when you have a potential, let's position it this way. How do you know when you have a potential use case for AI? What you do here is you think about the things you do every day, writing blog posts, sending email, running ads, whatever it may be. And you say, okay, is it data-driven? Do we use data to do these things? Or should we be using the data to make these decisions? Is it repetitive? And is it making a prediction about the behavior or an outcome? Now, it doesn't have to be all three of these things. It can be one of the things. But if it is all three, you absolutely have a potential use case for artificial intelligence. So let's go into some specific categories to see. So AI, let's say AI and advertising, right? So there are many things over here that can happen. This could be audience targeting, that can be budget allocation, generating multiple layouts from a single layout, developing ad copy, and gaining insights into performance. And what you see on the right are just some examples, companies that I'm familiar with, and some of them I'm using, and maybe their tech you are using as well, but they are just a technology that we are familiar with that play in this space, kind of starting point for you if you're trying to find some tools in this area. To one that we probably spend most time at as a marketers is content marketing and writing space. So you can see here, let's say, I can add a lot of companies that are in this space. It's actually, and all of them cost like $15 per month to start using it. So again, it's a huge space, and I would like to say it's moving so fast. This is from Sonia Han from Sequoia. So you can use the QR code on the left to read an extremely exciting and futuristic article about the vision of the Sequoia on generative AIs. So the first Twitter post of Sonia was back in October, and she put 30 logos of generative AI companies in this area that are doing text, video, images, code. Just a week later, she released the version 2 with over 100 of logos on that. So now just sharing, the Sequoia is sharing like weekly the amount of companies that are coming every week. So every week now, 70 companies coming each week in generative AI space. And we need to expand and understand our maps of these technologies. And of course, AI or AI email. How not to remind about the email, and it can write it. it can write it. It can write subject lines. It gives me the 10 subject lines for my email, and help me to understand the sense of the email, to put the phrases and sentences that will really make impact or engage the reader. So, and again, just few examples that you are familiar probably, and I will tell you later on why I'm putting some companies you definitely use for your marketing. Just a short remark. Maybe AI is already in the tools you are using in your marketing tech stack. So let's talk about how do you buy AI technology. So how do you get started? So for this, there are two primary ways I use personally. The first is the problem-based model. The second is the use case model. And I'm going kind of quickly explain. So the problem-based model to buy or select AI tech. So you have a known pain point or challenge that you think can be solved more efficiently with AI. So an example here would be our email database has grown 25% year over year, but open rate remained below the industry benchmark or average. And our contact customer conversion rate has been steadily declined. Obviously, it's a problem. In this model, you want to also have a value statement, meaning what is it worth to solve this problem, that tells you if it's worth trying to find ways to deal with AI. And if you need to get outside help to do it, whoever it may be. So in this case, let's say 2 percentage point lift and conversion rate could generate $100,000 in sales in the next 12 months. Okay, so if we want if we want this one return, we know we could spend up to $100,000 to make this happen. And by the year 3, it's probably can be $500,000 value. So let's start to give you the sense of what is actually working from the marketing stack. And then what we do is we go through those steps. So this is how we solve our task or problem-based assumption, let's say, when we can name it literally. It tend to take 3 to 6 months in average from my experience, depending on the complexity of the challenge that you are trying to solve. And I do kind of practice in this area. So if something you see can be the value, you can reach out to me through LinkedIn, for example, and I will share with you some additional resources I'm using in order to make an estimation and build a project for buying, deploying, and implementing MarTech technologies, including or especially that include AI component in it. The one you can really easily do today, though, that you don't need any additional guidance on this, is the use case model. So it's pretty simple. What you are doing here is you are trying to find a quick win pilot project. It's like testing hypothesis or A/B testing. This is what we really know how to do as marketers. So and try to make a very narrow project in scope of being very, very specific, and that can have a high probability of working because there are going to be a bunch of pilot projects you are going to run that won't work, or getting an AI writing tools that is probably going to work. The tech is very good. So what you do here is you think about all the things you do, and then you say, okay, assuming AI tech could be applied, how valuable it be for us to use AI in case to intelligently automate the use case. Okay, so, and this is a kind of Excel template I will be happy to share with you. Just use it because this is something that helps me. So ping me on LinkedIn, or I will join after this session the chat, and I will send you the link in the chat of our conference. So what we do here is we go through so and select like what we can do, how we can do it. For example, by selecting email blog, and like we like to think other categories. So let's think about the things we do in advertising, or all the things we do in the email or events, and then we make a list of tasks, the use cases that we do. How often do we, for example, need them, right? So how it can be like finally used, how much we are spending per month. So now this could be just a tech cost. So, or it could be include your or your human resources as well, like how many people in a team you have. And then the keys is what is the value to intelligent automation with 5, being this could transform our life or business or process. If we never do this, like we would spend 200 hours a month writing blog posts. If we could get that down to, let's say, 100, that would be basically a full-time equivalent employee. Like that's be simply amazing to make this intelligent automation. So that's a 5. And if it is 2 hours in a month, it's not going to transform your life to find AI tools to do it. It's probably not even worth intelligent automation. So my point here is that there are a bunch of new tools coming. They are coming like 70 new per week or even more. And it's impossible to use and try all of them, right? I mean, to try possible, but to use impossible. And we need a framework how to select them, to make an assessment what from our tech stack has already pre-built AI technology that can help us with texts, with visuals, or with predictions and customization or personalization. That's the main, I think, point here. So again, how to buy this Mark technology stack? I'm sure you're familiar with this crazy map. You can easily find it on the Chief Marketing Officer website. As I remember, it's made by Adobe, but it gives you an overview that it's hard to do it. So let's find that we find 5 or 10 use cases. So how we consider what actually to do, how to buy it. Again, the key to AI is to understand that it's just smarter technology, but it's what you should be demanding again from your technology vendor in your tech stack. So if we think about the landscape of all these AI technologies in the marketing and sales space, so the MarTech map has, I think, about 9,700 companies. The majority of these have no AI in them. A very small number of AI features. There are not that many of these companies that are built from AI around. And again, many of them are just legacy companies that are still trying to figure out how to infuse AI into change all of that. And basically, this map, if any company on this map is not infused with AI, is not AI first company software, within the next like few years just will be irrelevant. So challenge companies and things you are actually using to understand. So what's your future marketing stack will look like. And the other thing to think about is that all AI is not created equal. And what I mean by that is, if you want to get a content intelligence tool, just because 3 different vendors say they use AI, doesn't mean they are all the same value to you. So you need to be able to understand a little bit about how much is the AI really going to change your workflow, your process. What is the true, let's say, what we want to achieve, like time saving or creation. It can be very much different from vendor to vendor. So I think the key here will be, let's say, I'm sorry, switched. So the key thought is, you don't actually have how much advanced AI you don't need to understand. It's more what is the performance of the tool that you are going to use for your problem or your use case. And again, try to start with solving the use case. So if we just go back for a second to the Google Smart Composer, it's amazing. It can complete sentences for you, but just think for a moment how much time you're still spending to complete the sentences for this email, right? To give your view, your points. Yeah, the recommendations are good, but you still need to complete. And for example, for this capability of the feature of the Google, like, are you ready to pay $15 per month? Well, I think it's worth like $5. It's good, but it's worth maximum $5. And this is the key for thinking about how machine can help you, and what I, as a marketer, going still have to do, even having this technology or software on board in my technology stack. One more important thing I want to highlight for you to remember or to understand: we are not able to automate everything. I really would like to automate right now everything, but we don't need to go from all manually to fully automated. But we really can improve a certain problems, or solve a certain problems, or improve certain use cases in our everyday life for better performance of our marketing activities. So this is something I really always eager to do when software vendors with the AI, with the generative AI, asking, what is missing in our software? I tell him, can you do everything all in one, so I can just take it and use for all my marketing activities? And of course I fail. So my marketing stack of technologies is around like from 7 to 10 tools. But what to do? I have to live with that. And last few slides, just to let you think about like where to move further. So I'm, as a marketer, I understand how much we need to learn and to understand. And this is what I want to do. And I want you also to think about to what we need to do for personal transformation, to understand the AI, to understand how to apply and what are the use cases are possible and the most powerful from practical perspective that really work, right? Because a lot of startups that appear, but sometimes you cannot just take and use them for your like account-based marketing, maybe some serious processes inside account-based marketing. and how it really will impact the productivity, creativity, how to measure it, and what will be the general impact on the on organization, and of course, my personal career. And the second part, you as a marketer or marketing leader, like think about your team and your business. So you're trying to figure out what does it mean for your organization. Maybe you have 10 writers in your team. Do you even need 10 writers in the team? Or do you need the same or keep the same 10 writers in the team, but for example, triple the output next year? Or maybe to change their role, I would say, right? For example, someone is engaged into the writing, someone engaged into the tuning, someone is engaged to the personalization, proofreading. So it can be also to narrow the skills of the people that right now not under risk yet, but still are not under risk, but let's say challenged. Their status quo is challenged with generative AI technologies. So what you can do next? It's very simple. Don't wait for the marketing world to get smarter around you. Of course, it's just a joke. My last picture is absolutely this one. So engage yourself into the education, into the understanding of the technologies around and what is possible. You don't need to be a technical engineer to go to the data scientist, whatever, asking them how it works, etc. You really need to assess, like we really assess ROI or KPIs for our marketing activities. You need to set up for technologies that you are using, because they will, and they already changing the status quo of marketing, making us marketers of the next generation. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you've got some senses that you like really can use after the conference will end up, because I see in the program we have many things that will be covered today, including ChatGPT and other stuff that excites as much as possible. Thank you very much, and I'm ready and happy to answer any questions you have. And I hope we have questions. Darren, are you here with us?
I am indeed, Andrii. Thank you for that. It's great to listen to. So remember, folks, there's a Q&A tab. Just type your questions out there. And I can relay them to Andrii. I'll definitely open the floor, though. I think one kind of interesting thing is that there is a lot of rush towards AI utilization at the moment, right? I think it's been going on for a few years, admittedly, but all of a sudden, with these big investments coming in, especially things like Microsoft happening, people are essentially just scrambling over each other to be first through the door. It feels like there's a lot of trial and error involved in that process. And I thought maybe one interesting thing is to explore the element of affordability, right? Both from a monetary and a business's reputation, right? Like, how do you see businesses approaching those issues, and what would be your advice to people looking to utilize AI in those capacities?
Darren, can you specify from the reputation perspective, using outcomes of AI tools, what they produce as a content?
Yeah, so I guess my thought process is around the fact that obviously the monetary value like speaks for itself, right? There's definitely a big investment there initially, but also we've heard a lot of talk around things like the trust element on the business side, right? With your B2B as well as B2C. And obviously with those teething issues we're going to experience with AI, I guess the big concern is, is it too risky for a lot of businesses to jump in blindly? Because could, hiccups and mistakes with the AI's transition afford them the reputation that's brought them plenty of customers over time?
Yeah. I think I think my 40 slides were exactly about this.
Yeah.
You should not jump just to jump as a blind to this story from one side. From the other side, I'm a big fan of technology, but the AI or products that we see right now on the market are really help us to to quickly solve basic needs, like write a basic, make a basic creativity, get inspiration, etc., etc. The next level, and can be enough for small company. Once or a few startups, I know marketing leaders of them, they are using only ChatGPT to earn $5 million per year. One marketing person, ChatGPT, and he says, it's enough for me. And I'm okay. Driving it, doesn't care the quality of the content, just pushing it. If we are talking about mid-size or let's say enterprise, imagine you are doing account-based marketing, and it's pretty much about research, deep dive research. You hardly will use blindly the technologies that we have in place, but they can give you a starting point, the directions, the ideas. I think this is where we are now, even with ChatGPT 4. If you are really like, human intervention is required for mid-size and enterprise companies when do marketing.
I think that's a fair point, right? Because there's definitely a race towards adopting it, right, from an efficiency standpoint and a long-term cost affordability. But your point you're making is, there's a big question mark, right? Like, how do you, if you rush this in, you're going to lose that human component. It's kind of contradictory to the panic that everyone has a lot with this idea that their jobs will be replaced, right? And Skynet's going to become sentient tomorrow. Obviously there's concerns long term, where does AI go? But to your point, when we rush to implement, I mean, we're definitely not going to get Skynet as a result of rushing it, but we're also not going to get a functioning company still by the end of the year or century.
Let me tell something on Skynet. The Skynet is, I would say, it's a pretty smart and intelligent. Right now, ChatGPT is limited with the knowledges we have on the internet. That's it. Everything there is not on the internet, he doesn't know. He's stupid enough. So.
And let's not forget, on the internet, he'll have access to things like 4chan and certain Reddit sections. So he's probably being misled on a lot of situations as well. So it's definitely
you're right. You're right.
So another thing was, like we talking about the B2B side, and I was kind of like glazing over the B2C and how a lot of people have been focusing on that at the moment, the way that can be leveraged, the AI solutions going forward. Do you think that it's actually easier to utilize AI in a B2B environment because of things like that kind of like personal touch and that feeling of a human being involved is maybe less important to businesses than just, are you saving me money and are you more efficient?
Fair question. Thank you. I'm from B2B, so I'm like not from B2C, so I'm very much in a B2B. And again, I'm using it first of all, as a starting point. Even more for like technologies like ChatGPT and others, but I will give example for ChatGPT. For some B2B tasks I have for ChatGPT, I invent 2 pages of text as a prompt for ChatGPT. This is how I do it, and this requires skills from me to set the task so it can really help me in my B2B story. But again, right now I'm doing customer research, doing buying persona or ideal customer profile. I still have to do customer interview in person, and none of the technologies can help me with that, except maybe I love very much Otter.ai that helps to make transcript of the video recording or audio recording into the text, so I can use it. But this is something that makes me productive, but not like changing the way I do B2B marketing or changing the maturity of the content, because the maturity depends on me. I'm a subject matter expert, or my people in the team are subject matter experts, and they can make an assessment and tuning of the piece of content produced by B2B marketing technology.
Do you see that element evolving quickly, right? Maybe people coming in and trying to tailor different AI solutions to be, say, essentially a middleman for people in your position, right? To essentially give you a quicker way. I think of like the classics of maybe if you think of, let's say we go quite a few years back, right? And the whole concept of going to the store versus having these online markets where you can kind of come and get access to things. Same way as we talk about things like Fiverr, right? Where it's a quick route of getting access to these different skills. Do you think there's going to be a big mass of those type of services coming through that will benefit people in your kind of sector?
Kind of joke and not joke. When I was preparing the slides for this conference, even I was updating them to make more conceptual a few days ago. Today, they are already outdated. Even from the philosophical perspective, I would even fix or add something more. That's why let's give a weekend to let's see over the weekend. I think on Monday we're going to have another stack of companies or ChatGPT plugins that will disrupt what we were talking with you just today. For me, the biggest challenge I see or problem, so let's wait for Google announcing Bard. I want to see what will happen, because I think Google search is dying, and ChatGPT is the search engine that we're going to use, and we still do not know how internal algorithms are working, and OpenAI said no advertising will be allowed. So how are we going to deal with such type of technology? This is the question I would really highlight it in front of the marketers. So how ChatGPT will recommend your product, your solution, wherever you are, selling shoes or selling B2B software.
That's an interesting thought, right? The idea of transparency. Like, I think, we were joking about Skynet, but like the whole kind of threat of AI and how it will go in different directions. The key point was always transparency. But even when you move away from these crazy ideas, right, and you come back to just the basic utilization, what you're saying is it goes back to that old adage of, if you can't see the price, you are the product, right? And similarly, although they promise there's not going to be advertising, your argument is that they should be making this essentially open source so that we can confirm that what's happening isn't unfairly weighted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a good summary and conclusion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think we'll end it there because we're now running a little bit over time. We need to prep for our next section. Apologies, folks.
Sure.
Yeah, so I did see 1 or 2 questions coming through. I'm sure you'll be able to respond to them. Apologies. It's just, we need to try and keep it moving. But very insightful. We've had loads of talks on AI. Definitely appreciated your input, Andrii. And fingers crossed we'll hear more from you and your company in the future. But I'll let you go, and I'll just say thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
This is all we got. Remember the revolution in our minds. This is all we got.
Lock me out of this life institution. I am angry and I am illusions. Yes, I hate, but it's not a solution. Try my best, but I'm just a human. Oh, we don't need to say we started. We don't need to worship heaven's stars. We don't need to say we started.